topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV, where we bring you educational information from top local experts in the fields of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Now sit back and listen to experts in family law, association law, hearing loss, business brokers, home care, along with many other topics. Now here are your hosts, Steve-O and Sophia.
Hey, good morning. Welcome to another Ask the Expert show. For the last 17 years, we have brought you the top experts in the field of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. You know, I've got certain shows that I circle that I am always so excited to do. Hey, if you're a business owner, I got to tell you, you want to sit back and listen. For the next 25 minutes, we have the greatest merger and acquisition company. It's called the Vant Group. And we saw the popularity in this show. After the first show, we could not believe all the people that were tuning in. And I spoke with Alex, and we decided we got to make this a national show. So let me introduce you to the founder of the Vant Group, Alex Vanterakis. Good morning, Alex.
Good morning to you, Steve.
Hey, we got to find a hat to fit you after all I've said about you today.
Well, I appreciate it. I appreciate it greatly. I'm ready to share some good information.
You know, Alex, since we got this, and it was so nice about TikTok, they actually show you the people who are tuning in, which we don't have with anything else, all the 70 platforms we do. And they're already writing questions in. But since we have this new audience, tell people about the Vant Group.
Absolutely. Fortunately, I quit my job in 98 and I bought a small business and then I sold it. And I was enamored with that process. So I decided to start an M&A firm. And I've been very fortunate through that time. We've sold 500, 600, 700 businesses. We've served so many people, and we play in the small to middle market. That's 1 million to 200 million in revenue, which is about where 80% of the businesses in America sit. And we provide 3 services. We help people sell a business, buy a business, and most important, figure out how to value their business. There's about 10 of us there. We're very blessed. We just really want to serve. That's our primary purpose at the Vant Group, because selling a business is a scary, unknown process, and we love to hold our clients through that.
You know, Alex, what I'm hoping to get out of this show, there's many people out there who think they can sell their business themselves. And I got to tell you, I totally understand it. I was like that 15 years ago. You know, I'm a good salesman. I know my business better than anyone else, until I started trying to do it, Alex. And the phone calls that came in that my employees were answering and going, wait a minute, what's going on here? And then I call them the tire kickers, the people who wasted so much of my time. And a company like yours eliminates all of that.
Absolutely. You know, anybody can build a deck and add it onto their house. You just go to YouTube, you go to Home Depot, you buy a bunch of wood and you go at it. But I wouldn't want to walk on anything like that I built. I'll tell you that's for sure. And that's just a deck. We're talking about selling the most important asset that you could ever have. So why wouldn't somebody want to use an M&A advisor or a broker? A lot of times they don't want to pay a fee. And this is the retort that I would tell those people. First of all, if you use a good M&A advisor, you will 100% get a better overall deal than you would if you did it on your own. 100% guarantee. But more importantly, the semantics of doing a deal are very simple. You put a price on it, you put it on the market, you negotiate, and you close. The problem is the 100 landmines that are going to happen in between that process. Selling a business is not like selling a piece of property. If you have a piece of property, let's say you own a home, it's 4-bedroom, 3-bath in a certain zip code, and it's 4,000 square feet. You go and you look up all the homes in the area, and plus or minus 1%, everybody's going to give you the same value. When you sell your business, it's a totally different story. The value is very subjective depending on who the buyer is. And being able to maximize the value with each buyer, number one. Number two, making sure you get the right deal terms. If I said you could sell your business for 10 million or $1 million, everybody would say 10 million, right? But if it was $1 million up front or 10 million over 10 million days and you get $1 a day, all of a sudden your deal terms affect your sale price. And there are so many other things like that you need to protect yourself from and you need to be aware of as a business owner. And I highly discourage selling a business on your own. And it's not just because we want the business. I have met, like you, business owners that have sold it on their own, and there's always been problems. Great question.
You know, the biggest problem I had when I finally got smart and hired a business broker is when you start a company, it's your baby. I mean, you raise that little baby up and you've put your heart and soul into it. And then I had a business broker told me what my business was really worth. And it like killed me. Like, this is my baby. It's worth more than that. How do you deal with that, Alex?
Well, here's the analogy I'll make. It's as if I weighed 500 pounds and put a Speedo on and asked somebody, how do I look? I think I look great. But to the general public, I probably would not look good at 500 pounds in a Speedo. Same thing with your business. It doesn't matter how you perceive it. It doesn't at all. It matters on how the buyer perceives it. 100%. Because in order for somebody to buy a business, they have to believe and are certain that the business that they're buying is worth the value that they're paying and that they will be able to continue the operation of the business. So yes, nobody likes to be told their baby is not as pretty. And frankly, the truth is a double-edged sword. There's no question about it. Everybody wants to hear it, but very few people want to receive it. Our job is to make sure, first of all, that a seller understands that we're on the same team. I'm not looking to sell a business for the lowest amount. That doesn't make any sense to me or to them. But I'm not going to tell somebody something that's untrue, because the worst thing that you can do is having a business for sale is have it on the market for a while, because the buyer community is very small. Everybody sees the businesses for sale. And if, let's say it's worth 5 and you have it priced at 10 million, the market just knows you're not a realistic seller. And that's a lot of the psychology that is involved. Everybody thinks selling a business is all about numbers, right? Make sure the numbers are right. And that's a huge part of it. But really, it's psychology. I have an MBA in finance. I wish I had a psychology PhD. That would serve me much better.
Hey, I have a psychology degree from the University of Texas in Austin. I don't know if it's really helped me a lot.
I hear you. Go Horns.
So, God, we're getting all kind of questions, Alex. This is a good question that just came in on TikTok. How do you know when it's the right time to sell your business?
That's probably the best. Whoever asked that, that's the best question imaginable. And when we do presentation, the first slide talks about, are you ready to sell? So I'm going to answer the question, but first let me tell you, if you are not ready to sell and you go to sell your business, you will never sell your business. Never. Because if you're not ready, you're most likely unrealistic about value and deal terms. And frankly, most people say, well, why would I sell? I could just work a couple more years and make the same amount of money. And that is a true statement with certain businesses. So when do you know you should sell? It's very obvious factors. Number one, you wake up and the first thing you think of is, oh my gosh, I don't want to go to work today. That's number one. Number two, you can't manage the finances of your business. It's getting too big for you. You're trying to grow, but you can't get additional funding and you're overwhelmed. That's a good reason to sell, actually, where you can't handle the growth. Number three, which is most people, they just get burned out and bored, and the value that they receive from owning the business is not worth the hassle and the headache of owning the business. I'll give you an example. Let's say you own a little manufacturing company, you make $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 a year, which is a great living. But you don't like going to work. Your finances are overwhelming. Your employees are too difficult to retain. And then you start getting into babysitting a business that has grown away from you. And I see it happening a lot. People are real passionate when they start. But look, owning a business, it's not easy. It is not an easy thing. It's a beautiful thing. I would highly recommend it for anybody listening to the call, but do not fool yourself into thinking you're going to walk in and you got all these departments that do all of this work, and you put on your little suit in the morning and you sit and you have your coffee in your office. That's a diluted version. Now, I'm not saying some people can't get there. The really successful people have figured out how to manage the business from looking down rather than being involved. Those businesses rarely sell, because why would you? You have a cash flow stream that comes to you every month. Great question.
Here's another. We're getting so many questions from TikTok today. What is the best area of business do you like to sell?
That's a great question. I get asked that question a lot. There are two different camps of businesses. There are asset-heavy businesses. Think of a trucking business, a manufacturing business, a construction business, a data center, where you have a lot of assets. Then there are service businesses. Think of an IT company or a landscape company or a catering company, where you don't have a lot of assets to produce the income that you have. Two different mindsets. I've bought a lot of businesses over the years, usually my own listings because they've been good. And all of my deals that I bought were high cash flowing, service-oriented business that require few assets to grow. So I own a catering company. If I want to grow from 2 million to 3 million, I'm going to buy 1 or 2 trucks and a couple more ovens. That's all I need to grow. If I'm a construction or a manufacturing facility and I land a new client or two, I got to go out and spend $500,000 or $1 million more on equipment. The people that like equipment, they love the security of knowing that what they're purchasing has assets behind it that they can use if they need to sell or liquidate. A service business does not have the assets, but it usually has higher cash flow at a lower multiple. So if you have a manufacturing business that makes, let's say, $1 million a year, and a service business that makes $1 million a year, the manufacturer will probably sell for 6 or 7 or 8 million, while the service business would only sell for 3 or 4 or 5 million. So two different schools of thought. Neither one of them is incorrect. If I'd say what is most sought after, probably service businesses right now.
Another question: what is the biggest mistake businesses make that are thinking about selling their business?
Phenomenal questions. It's not understanding what is the value of your business and how that is derived. That is the number one mistake. If you go into a process thinking that you have a higher value than the market has, that's going to cause very difficult negotiations, right? Because the buyer is negotiating out of very fundamental principles that every buyer will negotiate. And the seller has a value based on their own perceived value perceptions. They've been told by their accountant or their CPA or a buddy that just sold their business that this is what it should be worth. So the thing I tell every business owner, every owner, if you're 5 years or less before you're thinking of selling, you should always get a business valuation. All the time, 5 years in advance. Why? Because what the value will do first, it will align you with reality. That's the most important thing. It's like finding a diamond and saying, well, how much is this diamond worth? Well, you go to a diamond adjuster and you figure it out. If you get a valuation 5 years in advance, and it's a great valuation, it's an assessment, which is what ours are, not only do you get a number, but you get a laundry list of all of the things that you can do to increase and decrease value. And then you have a 5-year game plan on making sure that your business looks the way that a buyer wants to see it. So the biggest issue that sellers have is they just have a disillusion. It's not even a disillusion. It's just they're uneducated. They know how to make widgets, right? But they don't know how buyers will value their business. So understanding how buyers value their business is the most important thing you can do to prep your business for sale.
Hey, talk about having skin in the game, Alex. You do so much legwork before you even realize your first dime.
Absolutely.
I mean, all the due diligence you do, and nothing is guaranteed.
Yep. You bring up a great point. So the way that we're compensated really dictates a lot of how we do our work, meaning retainer, $7,500, $10,000, somewhere around there. And our big fee is on a commission, and it's a percent of the sale. So in my little tiny brain, I thought I want to be successful 100% of the time, because if I'm working on commission, why would I list something or go to market with something that won't sell? How do you figure out if something will sell or not? Well, we've been doing this for almost 30 years. If we spend the right amount of time, usually 2 to 4 weeks, diving into a business owner's business and looking at it from the perspective of a buyer, we do buyer due diligence when we list a client. Because what we want is we want to uncover all of the issues that are going to occur during the selling process, questions that buyers will have, make sure the business is financeable, et cetera, et cetera. And if we do all of that work up front, it does 2 things. One, it makes the Vant Group look like a firm that knows what they're doing to buyers. Why is that important? Because there's no negotiating on our deals. People know that the deals that we have already been pre-vetted, they've already been bank approved. That's first. And second, it's to 100% guarantee a closing. So during that 2 to 4 week period, not only are we learning about the business, but we're coaching our seller. Hey, this is what you should say, when you should say it. We let them, of course, be independent, but we make sure that they touch on the important points. So yes, we spend a ton of time prepping for businesses, because I want every client that works with us for their business to be sold. And by the way, the average in the industry, I'd say, is somewhere between 30 and 50% success rate, somewhere around there.
That's funny you said that. We just got someone who just wrote, what is your success rate and what is the average time it takes to sell a business?
Excellent question. For the clients that we go to market where we have expressed to them the price and the deal terms, for those clients that understand and agree to that, it's 100%. Where our 5 to 10% gap happens is when the client says, well, I understand what you're telling me, but I think we should do the following. Well, when we listen to those clients, unfortunately, they usually don't sell. So our success rate truly is 100%. How long does it take? Oh, sorry.
I got to tell you something, Alex. One of the things that I learned, you got to be patient. I was calling up like every week. Have you heard anything? And I learned my lesson.
Yeah.
When it happens, right?
Yeah. And you do need patience, and that goes into the time period that it takes to sell a business. On average, 7 to 9 months. Now, I will tell you, we just listed 3 businesses last month. Within 3 weeks, all of them were under LOI, which means those will close 3 to 4 months from now. That is an anomaly, but that is absolutely possible. Why? A seller at all times, good economy, poor economy, flat economy, the seller is always the bridesmaid, always the one that is in demand. You know why? Because there's buyers, an overabundance of buyers all the time. So the amount of time that it takes to sell a business is really dependent on how well has the business been priced and marketed. Because there's such demand, when we get a quality listing, it doesn't take but a month or so to get it under LOI, which is amazing news for the seller, because you're right, it could be a very time-consuming process. But if we do our job properly, we the M&A firm are taking all the time commitment, and the seller's really just coming in for the buyer-seller meetings.
I'm going to get this last question in. It's a good question. I own a high-end restaurant. I know people say the economy is getting better, but the restaurant business is tough. Is that the time to sell, or should I wait for the economy to get better?
Great question. The economy plays a role in the ability to sell a business, but what plays the most important role is the company's itself, the financials and strength of the company. Meaning, if the economy is not doing well, but you have an extremely high cash flowing business, this is a phenomenal time to sell, right? Because it's going contrary to what the market is doing. Now, if your restaurant is suffering, though, during a time where the economy is suffering, that is a very bad time to sell your business, because you're going to be getting people that are looking for a deal. I own a catering business, so I understand this business owner's dilemma. It is difficult right now. And I just tell you to just ride the wave out. Once the war is over, gas prices decline, everybody starts shopping again. Even though we say the economy is bad, I do believe there's two different economies that we live in. The fortunate few that are in the wealth hemisphere that have 401ks and stock market and all that, candidly, the business is booming. There's 115,000 jobs added. The economy seems like it's rocking and rolling. Unfortunately, most of the people in this country, they're not in that hemisphere. And the economy is very tough right now. Things are extremely expensive, which is why if you have a business that is producing cash flow at any time, whatever the economy is, you have an incredible asset.
Oh, Mike, your show goes by so fast. Tell people how they can reach you, Alex.
Absolutely. Website, www.thevantgroup.com, just like my last name, thevantgroup.com. I love taking questions. I love giving information. You can reach me at alex@thevantgroup.com. If you email me and tell me you heard about me on the show, I'll send you a PDF version of one of two books that we wrote, either How to Buy a Business, which is called Entrance, or How to Sell a Business, which is called Exit. I would love to talk to anybody on this call.
Alex, I can't thank you enough. Alex will be back with us again next month. Alex, have a blessed week. We love having you on the show.
Same to you. And everybody on this call, remember, Jesus is the reason. He is on the throne. Everybody have a wonderful day.
Amen, brother. Hey, listen, that's going to do it for us today. Look, if you're looking to sell a business, you can't do a better job than with the Vant Group. That's V as in Victor, the Vant Group. We'll be back in with you tomorrow with more Ask the Experts.
Thanks for tuning in today to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV. Tune in next week and every week to hear more from our experts on personal injury, insurance, air condition repairs, estate planning, Medicare, and many other topics in the areas of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. See you next week.